it lagged out on me. Mm-mm. And there go my notes. So, again, we are day 45 of the manhunt for Joshua Zimmerman, and essentially, there have been no sightings in over 40 days, right? So, a couple of days ago, there was movement. And let me wait for people to get back on. This is the thing with YouTube. On X, it goes so much quicker. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the notifications, but I'll give it about at the 3 minute mark. We'll start going over the message with some clarity on the mother and the money and go from there. But again, guys, we are on day 45 of the manhunt and authorities are searching for clues. I guess I'll use this time to keep re emphasizing if you have ring cameras and stuff, check them. If you live in any of these areas and you see a clip, watch it in case it pops up. Yeah, I restarted it because it froze out, guys. All right, cool. So now that everybody's coming back, as soon as we get a little bit back to where we were, I'm gonna hop on where we left off, which is I was about to start reading the notes from the conversation I had with the mother, who um, is obviously going through a lot, right? She is dealing with a lot of stuff when you think about it, but I'm not being sympathetic whatsoever. So again, guys, let's begin where we left off. So now again, I had this proofread and I edited it like for grammar, not so much to change the context, just so I can read it a lot easier. So here is I'm not gonna filter it because I mean it's kind of if she here's the message. If you're going Gosh, even when you proofread or you do a grammar check on it's kind of hard. If you're gonna post my words, what I was doing was letting Joshua know that now I know he lied to me. He called me 3 times on June 14th from 3 different phone numbers, saying they were CO correctional officers' phone numbers and that he was at court. He said the COs were looking out for him because he was being sentenced that day and being transferred to county jail. He also said this was the CO's cash app and they would make sure the money got on my books. I never knew until days later that he had escaped. My son and the COs have great my son and the COs have good relationships. I have cash apped many other COs. I never would have helped him had I known he escaped. I want him captured alive. I never called him like you said. He called me 3 times that day. I will do all I can to help. And she notes that her mother is critically ill and fighting for her life. And I do send my sympathy for the mother of Tina, the grandmother. I hope everything's okay. She's got obviously nothing to do with this at all. And this is gonna it adds a lot of pressure to her. She's in the hospital. I'll continue with that. I never called him like you said. He called me 3 times a day. I will do all I can to help, but also my mom is critically fighting for her life. She's my world. I appreciate you. So that's fine. So I have taken down the photo of the grandmother. I thought that was actually Tina. I didn't know it was the grandmom. But yeah, the grandmother was never supposed to be on a post. She continues, my son was also the barber in there and hustling commissary. So the money was his, not something I gave him. I believed him when he said he was at court being sentenced to serve life that day. I'm sick to my stomach over this. He may have taken the wrong paths in life, but my family is a loving one that helps others for the better, not for the worse. And I do believe that as far as Tina overall, this is a heartfelt memo. It's not like she just made it up off the top of her head. But I will say that uh, I am skeptical, of course, because at the end of the day, now I'm also going to throw this on DeSoto County, guys. Did DeSoto County call Tina and notify her of the escape? I doubt it because that county is so corrupt. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, when she says that she didn't hear for days, I believe that. I didn't hear for 10 days either, and I cover manhunts. And this is a killer on the run. So if I didn't I'm not saying if I didn't hear about it, she didn't, but again, she knew about it before me, but still well after the fact. And this does co-align with what my law enforcement sources said about Tina. She has been, I mean, they are the not everybody. Um, and I'm going to make it clear they did not cooperate from the gate. They did not. That did not happen. They cooperated when the door got kicked in, making that clear. Okay, guys. So, nevertheless, they cooperated and they are cooperating. They being Tina. I can't speak for anybody else, and I'm not going to drop names, but the mother Tina, who is she's been like the center of my cover, not the center of the coverage whatsoever. Joshua has been, but once she put up the post about the Cash App, she obviously became the center of attention, right? Because that was a pretty bold statement, and it was a very vague statement. So I took it, read it, and it was out of context. So this is now putting it back into context. So let me repeat what the context was. And this is from Joshua Zimmerman's mom, Tina, and she says that that post was to let Joshua know that she now knows that he lied to her. He called me 3 times on the 14th from 3 different phone numbers, saying they were CO's phone numbers and that he was at court. Now, this is true. So, this, guys, I have confirmed this with, um, so there are 1 or 2 good apples over in DeSoto County, but Zimmerman was having, from my understanding, a sexual relationship with a female CO, and that extended to a little ring, not a sex ring, but a ring of like what do you call it when people bring contraband and stuff into prisons, right? So he found himself in that, and they know who the female CO is, and I don't know if she's in custody. I know she's not back. I would hope she's not at the jail. I don't know who she is. I know the authorities know who she is. So the mother is not lying when she says that Joshua had a good relationship with COs. That's I did not hear that just from her. This isn't the first time. This is like the 90th time I've heard this. Um, yeah, illicit activity. So I haven't heard for her. If she was to say this to me, only her, then I'd have a little bit of I'd be a little skeptical. But it's confirmed that Zimmerman was having an amazing relationship somehow with everywhere he went. He was able to finesse. When he was in Connecticut, the jail system, he was able to finesse like crazy, right? And with that came friendships. And when he got to Mississippi, he met a girl at a Dollar General. And what's interesting is that girl was with him at the attempted murder after the fact, right after the fact, when they were robbing the home, right? And she vanished. Fast forward to the escape. There's no word of her or anything. So, like, it's a very strange situation. But what the mother says is true. Zimmerman had a very he again, Ted Bundy, he can manipulate his way into just about anything. He fooled a man that's the day he got out of it, he broke out. He couldn't he fooled a man into believing that he was in a huge that he got screwed essentially by the system, okay? And the guy gave him a ride to Memphis, right? And that wasn't the first time. So another time is him dressing up as a landscaper after the attempted murder. He tries to kill this guy and then steals his hard hat, his vest, and a weed whacker. And he walks up the road, acts like his truck broke down, and he gets a ride to a gas station by a woman who felt bad because honestly, that would have fooled me if he's holding a weed whacker. That's some slick stuff, guys. That's some Ted Bundy stuff. It's not your average hitchhiker. I mean, I thought he would be hitchhiking, but not with a weed whacker. That's very slick. So let me get back to what the mother's saying. Again, the mother is very spot on with Zimmerman having a lot of relations in the with COs, and I do believe that the mother had that he would tell her that this is for me cutting hair. That's a thing in jail, right? So when they cut hair, when they do their hustling or their whatever barber shops, their tattoos, whatever they do, right? Well, in his case, he might be selling himself because we know that he's a little bit. He either takes it if they don't give it to him, or he'll give it up. It's weird. The guy is not all up there, okay, to be doing that in prison, raping men in prison. That's a sick thing. nevertheless, he has relationships with COs, and he might have a relationship with a male CO. I just don't know that one yet. So let's get back to this. My son and the COs have good relationships. I have cash apped many other COs, and this is true. And this isn't just from Mississippi. This goes all the way to Connecticut when he was in jail, guys. He is like jail. They do that, right? It's normal to do that. It's normal to have a hustle, and then you would have your outsiders, right? Your family, people outside of the jail, family, friends. You send the cash app to them. Now, where the problems start to kick in is uh, he escaped. Obviously, Tina wasn't planning that part. And for Joshua to trick his mother, that kind of really would change my perspective on it. But then again, you just never know. But let's keep going with this. My son and the COs have good relationships. I have cash apped many other COs. I never would have helped him had I known he escaped. I want him captured alive. I never called him like you said. He called me 3 times that day. I will do all I can to help, but also my mom is critically fighting for her life. She's my world. I appreciate you taking down my mom's photo and my kids. My son was also the barber in there and hustling commissary. So the money was his, not something I gave to him. I believe I believed him when he said he was at court and being sentenced to serve life that day. And I do believe that, guys, because he did the way this guy would operate, and it makes sense that he can say easily, "Yo, mom, they picked me up. I got charged with Kiana's murder. It's been X, Y, and Z." Now he was able to manipulate it and say that he was being sentenced to serve life, not know where he's going, send the money to the COs. And that is what hit the flags. The COs, we'll get to that later. Um, let's finish with this part. I believed him when he said he was at court being sentenced to serve life that day. I'm sick to my stomach. I'm over this. He may have taken the wrong paths in life, but my family is a loving family that helps others for better, not the worse. So again, guys, that's from Joshua's mother, and let's make sure that we kind of hold judgment until we know what's going on. Okay, so I know that a lot of people kind of, and I did too. See, the problem is the mom. Um, when she posts on social media, I wish she had somebody that would read it a few times to make sure it's in the right context, to make sure it's what she wants to say, because I read her original post verbatim, and uh, I mean, she retracted it the next day, and I think it's because maybe that wasn't what she meant to say. I think that was not the right. eh, she didn't get her message out correctly, and that happens to me all the time, right? I need people to proofread or help me out if I can't get a message out, and I think she needs that person because uh, it's yeah. But again, we have to hold judgment on the mother because she could be another literally innocent person in this. We do not know. We don't know anything until he is captured, until they don't need Zimmerman to close the case. They need a clue, and they don't have many yet. The mother cooperating has given them an immense amount of information that was invaluable, that they wouldn't have had without her cooperation, which is amazing. Zimmerman only had $600. So it's not he's not out of the country. That's a fact. If anything, I'm still so up until midnight last night, I was 70% sure that he left that region of DeSoto County, and I was 30% sure that he has journeyed toward us, the East Coast. Now, at about 1 a.m., that changed. I'm now back at 55% that he's there in DeSoto region, and 45 that he left because late last night, the Arkansas State Police brought out their big gun helicopters, and they were doing a sweep that we saw during the Danilo manhunts. They were circling very specific regions, and I'm not going to get into what those regions consist of, but it's a pattern, and you guys, we'll talk about the pattern probably. I mean, never probably, because I hope somebody else takes this pattern if it's true and it works. But again, now that they're searching Arkansas, that is literally, if he wants to, he can put his foot in all three states just about by playing hopscotch. He can be in Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas. Now, the second Zimmerman harms somebody, we are going to see some wild stuff. It's going to be, unless it's in DeSoto County. So, give me a sec. So, if it's in DeSoto County, I'm sorry, guys, but your county's so corrupt that if he already killed people there, that they're probably just going to close the case and say somebody else did it. So, good luck with that. But let me tell you, if he kills somebody outside of DeSoto, it's game over. Not out. It would have to be in Tennessee, or it cannot be in Mississippi, right? And the reason for that is there's one amazing thing that nobody really seems to be hammering away on. In Houston, he murdered his girlfriend, right? He shot her in the head. From there, he fled to Mississippi. Using the same firearm, he committed an armed robbery and another attempted murder. Now, this is a page out of Andrew Cunanan's book, literally. Andrew Cunanan killed his lover and then went on to kill, I think it was only two people that they were able to understand the relationship with, and then the other two were random. One of them was a groundskeeper at a cemetery, and he killed him to steal his car and make his way to Versace to kill him. And this is a page out of Andrew Cunanan's book. So I almost called Zimmerman Andrew. So Zimmerman is in Houston. He murders his girlfriend. He goes to Mississippi. Using the same gun, commits another felony, attempted murder, shoots the victim in the neck. Okay. And there's more to this story there's more to the story, which is going to have to wait until the case is unsealed, because obviously the DA has been gagged, so it's not my place to say what he can say, and I'm not going to involve the other. You have to remember this. So, guys, the case in Mississippi is ongoing, and the victim is alive and terrified. He is in protective custody, and for good reason. I mean, we're dealing with a crazy guy. So, once Zimmerman is caught and the affidavit is officially out, then I guess we'll do a little recap on that case, because it is a rather interesting case. It completely takes away his MO. If it checks out to be what it says, it essentially it takes out his whole MO. But he takes that gun, he shoots the guy in the neck, and from there gets arrested 2 days later. Now, well, this I can say, I guess, because I said it before. So after the victim is shot, he gets to the hospital. The hospital has to notify police, right? Police respond to the victim's home. It is believed that Zimmerman and a girl were there. They saw the police and they hid, right? When they hid, the cops go inside and they had to take, I'm trying to think of, they had to take something from the home to go back to the hospital, right? So they do that and they leave, but they look around to see if there's a sign of the shooter. Nothing's there. So the police leave. Zimmerman and the girl get the white pickup truck belonging to our victim. So the police are gone. And so now I don't want to give bad information. Um, we can't talk about that. So that's not how the truck was given, but he did have the victim's truck at one point. But let's just jump around the whole thing. 2 days later, he gets stopped, he gets arrested, and the girl isn't with him. He gets charged as Mike. No last name, Mike. So here's Mike at the South Haven Police Department, aka Joshua Zimmerman, Vincent, Julie, whatever, Damien, something, Josh, James, whatever you want to call him that day. He was Mike there, and Michael, like Michael Myers. They arrest Mike. Come to find out, Mike is actually this guy named Vincent. Come to find out, Vincent is actually Joshua Zimmerman. Come to find out, Zimmerman is on a rampage that started in Connecticut with rapes and attempted murders and kidnappings, and went to Houston, where it escalated to first-degree murder, and then Mississippi, where it continued to an attempted murder by shooting the victim in the neck and then robbing. Now, that shows you guys, like, I can't be more specific than that. What else do you need to know that this guy's on a spree and he'll do anything? Here are the pieces again. He fled Connecticut because a DNA test came back linking him to a rape of a man. Okay, he raped a man. He has so Zimmerman is very in with some shady characters that are police officers that tipped him off about the rape in South Haven. So, Connecticut, you guys are a problem of your own. Um, Zimmerman gets tipped off, hey, the cops are coming. We just got they got your DNA back. It's a match for the rape of a man. Zimmerman and his girlfriend immediately hit the road, right? Go through Georgia, Florida, make their way up to Houston, where he thinks that she's going to turn on him, and he kills her, just like a Cavalcante situation. Blows her head off in a motel. Now, before he killed her, there were a lot of arguments going on that day, and he got kicked out of the hotel, but he was able to Ted Bundy himself back in. He was not allowed back on the premises. Now, she would have been alive if they had stayed with that and stuck with that, but Zimmerman is so good at finessing. Guys, he got South Haven police to tip him off about a DNA test. He got the DeSoto County to give him handcuff keys and shackle keys and a gun. He got them to delete surveillance footage. So he has some very interesting and unique friends in very strange places. Um, but for him to do crime Connecticut, crime Houston, crime Mississippi, he's not retiring, guys. You guys think he's going to retire? He's not retiring. He's just getting started. And that's the thing that we have to understand is that this thing is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And now let me clarify one more thing from the mother, which was the mere fact that, so yesterday I had posted that the mom posted that message, right? And the thing is the mom made her account a creator account yesterday, and no cartel connections. I'll give you guys a little rundown on the connections in a sec. Hold on. All right, sorry, but so the guy, as far as connections go, he has a a, a very big. I don't even know what to call it. Family, but now there. It's not to say that they're all shady characters, right? Many of them are, but not well. Okay, they appear to be shady, but at the end of the day, they too are possibly victims in this, and it's too early to tell. It's too early to call it, and it's definitely too early to say that everybody is scot free and fine. But I do understand where the mother is coming from, and I wish that her relatives, if they actually cared about her, maybe they're not the brightest. The other relatives, she needs some younger people around her to proofread or at least help her get the message out, because the message that she put out there sounded like, I mean, I'm sure she meant well, but it was just not the right choice of words. Now, as for yesterday, when she had that description up, it wasn't a post, right? So on Facebook, you can't tell what time somebody changed their description. And for some reason, it just wasn't there before yesterday. And yesterday it appeared, and it took everybody by surprise, not just me. It also took the DeSoto County DA's office, the DeSoto County Sheriff's Department, the Waterbury Police. But before that, where she had it all private, like you couldn't see that, right? You couldn't see that her description. And now that she had a creator account, you can see everything. So apparently, the message that she said yesterday, that I said was from yesterday, that's years old. But there's no timestamp and there's no way to tell. But I'll take her word for it. I do believe it. She does seem to be, or she is cooperate. She's cooperating with authorities, whether it's she's cooperating with authorities, and at the end of the day, she clarified what I got wrong, and I respect her for that because not many now other relatives, instead of trying to clarify, they are a little bit. And if you think I'm talking about you, I'm probably not. Um, if you're a guy, I'm not talking about you. It's more so the females in the family. But the the mom has proven to be the most grounded out of the Sanderson sisters, I'll call them. Like she's the most grounded, and she had the courage, or at least, I mean, thank you for reaching out to me. I appreciate that because at the end of the day, what we want is to get him captured. And I know that, yeah, he's your son, but there are victims, and the mom understands that. The mom is not going to bat for him. She is petrified. I mean, mother's instinct does kick in, and I do believe the mother when she said about the commissary and about the barber and about getting tattoo money. I believe that because that is a thing, right? And that's something that could be shown over long periods of time. Now, I'm not sure exactly. I'm going to speak to her. I'm not sure exactly when she reached out to the marshals or 911. See, my thing was, if I, when I have a kid, right, and my kid's old enough to be in prison or something, right, and I see I'm going to use it. Say my daughter escapes from prison. She's being held there, and I see it on well, no, I'm not going to say daughter because I mean, I'd probably hide her. All right, so let's start with son. So if my son escapes from prison and he goes on a run, and I wouldn't hide anybody, I'm just saying, the first call I'm making is going to be to 911 to say, hey, just so you guys, not 911 like the emergency line. If he's in the county, I mean, yeah. But say I was here and my son got arrested in Chicago. I would call the U.S. Marshals in Chicago and I would say, hey, just so you guys know, I'm the dad. And here's XYZ. Here's the last time I talked to him. Here's my number. Come over. Let's talk. Whatever you need, my house is your house. Let's try to get him caught alive. That is how you go about it. But people, we've never been in that position, so I can't say, well, why didn't you do this? It's just like saying, well, why didn't you hit the brakes fast enough? You would have stopped the car. It's stuff that just, it's like second nature to her, right? She did not, it hit her that her son is on the run, that she sent money to him under the false premise of it being, and it wasn't her money. Again, it was his money that he was having other, so he was having inmates and COs and people like that. He was having inmates cash app his mom. His mom would cash app COs, and that was for hustling and which not drugs and stuff. I'm talking about uh, jailhouse life, commissary, barber shop. Because when you get a haircut there, yeah, it's free. But if you don't tip the guy, you're gonna look like Zimmerman when he had that hairline coming out. Well, yeah, maybe that's part of the disguise, but you get money, right? And that money comes through Cash App, and it goes to people on the outside, and the outside send it around. And it's interesting that Zimmerman has that network of COs. It's interesting that Zimmerman has a network of police. It's interesting that Zimmerman has a network to begin with. But then again, guys, we have to, as far as the family goes, let's withhold judgment on the mom. And I mean, people are calling for her arrest, yada yada. That's just not. If they were to lock her up, that would ruin the manhunt, right? Because that's just not going to help. Zimmerman's not going to go to a prison to visit her on the run. Now, at the end of the day, as long as she does everything in her power, I'm not saying she has to get him because she's not Houdini. You saw what Danello's mother did, right? He played the voice and did all of that. It sounds like she's willing to do that and more, okay? But she hasn't been given the chance. And I think that it is a two-way street on this because we jumped the gun a little bit, or no, we didn't, because the mom posted on Facebook. Now, the one thing that we should have done is ask the mother if DeSoto County reached out to her first, but that still doesn't explain why she wouldn't have called the marshals. But I'm not slamming her for that. Again, let's just make the record clear that the mother is cooperating and she gave the following statement, which not statement, she corrected this. And the correction is about the money that she sent Joshua, right? She's not saying the money didn't go there. She's saying that the money was not her money, it was his money, and that he was having inmates while he's hustling. It's normal. So it's a very normal story and believable 100%. Send her the Cash App, and then she would forward the Cash App to the COs. So I'm going to read the statement one more time, and then I'm going to let you guys go for a little bit. Um, so, and again, I had this, like I ran this through Grammarly just to fix it up a little bit because of it was a little bit hard to read. So I'm going to start it from the top. And this is about the mother giving money to Zimmerman. So this is correcting that situation. If you're going to post my words, what I was doing was letting Joshua know that now I know he lied to me. He called me 3 times on the 14th from 3 different phone numbers, saying they were CO phone numbers and that he was at court. He said the COs were looking out for him because he was being sentenced that day and being transferred to county jail. He also said this was the CO's Cash App and they would make sure the money got on my books. I never knew until days later that he had escaped. My son and the COs have good relationships. I have Cash Apped many other COs. I never would have helped him had I known he escaped. I want him captured alive. I never called him like you said. He called me 3 times that day. I will do all I can to help, but also my mom is critically fighting for her life. She's my world. I I appreciate you for taking down my mom's photo and my kids. My son was also the barber in there and hustling commissary, so the money was his, not something I gave him. I believed him when he said he was at court being sentenced to serve life that day. I'm sick to my stomach over this. He may have taken the wrong paths in life, but my family is a loving family that helps others for the better, not for the worse. I do believe that he did trick her, and I do believe that the mother didn't know he escaped. Guys, again, you have to remember nobody knew. DeSoto County got rid of that stuff so quick. So what happened is after the escape, they were gagged on top of it. So this goes so far up to the top that I believe that she didn't know for at least. I'm not saying that I know for a fact she didn't know, but I am saying it's a very high chance because when that stuff broke in DeSoto, it wasn't the first day. They didn't have a press conference until what, 4 days in? And that's when they started. But again, it's just we're gonna withhold judgment until we know. Let's see what happens at the end. And before we slam the mom, and then nothing happens, and it turns out that she's an innocent person, let's wait because if she gets arrested, at least we have a lot to work with, guys. So if she gets charged, trust me, I'll be doing a lot of round 2, round 3, round 4. So I'm going to make this clear to the family right now. If you guys are giving me false information, I mean, I don't really care because there's a digital footprint, so it's going to come back to you, and that kind of assists in his escape. So I doubt that the information from the mother is false. Now, the other relatives that I've been speaking to, not so much trustworthy. And I'm not saying that the mother is trustworthy, but I will say that they have made it almost impossible for me to get in touch with that mother. They being her family, they have put up guards around that whole dang thing. The mother reached out to me and it was in my spam. And you know what, Meta, you guys are pieces of work because during Cavalcante, I'm still going through my Cavalcante DMs. I, I, they're all in spam. And there's a fugitive on the run and his mom is DMing me, and you guys think that's spam. Meta, it needs a little bit of their AI is not working too well, okay, because that was just ridiculous. But the mother reached out to me, and I was shocked because I've been trying to get a hold. I've been asking them to make an introduction, and these are relatives like that are as close as they get to. I mean, literally brother, sister, like as close as they are, and no, and I wonder if it was because they didn't want her being like speaking. She's the only one that seems to be getting stuff on point when she says something compared to the rest of the relatives that kind of uh they contradict each other, not her. So again, guys, I'm gonna stay in touch with the mom. I'm gonna see if I can speak with her a little bit more so I can try to set the record straight, see exactly what's going on. But I'll give you a little rundown on what the latest on Zimmerman is. He escaped the Soto County Courthouse June 14th. He was last seen in Memphis, Tennessee, June 15th. He's been on the run for 45 days. He's wanted by the U.S. Marshals, Two Rivers Task Force out in Tennessee for murder of the first degree in Texas. We have rape of a male in Connecticut. We have attempted murder in Connecticut. We have kidnapping in Connecticut. In Mississippi, we have attempted murder and armed robbery. He's been on the run for 45 days, likely heading toward Connecticut. Now, let's get to possible areas of interest other than what we know. Now, these five, first of all, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Connecticut. You guys, all of you, are at the same standing right now. So all of you guys have to have the same guard up right now. Again, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi, Connecticut, Arkansas, all of you guys have to start being, I mean, not start, if you haven't been on the lookout, go check on your neighbor and make sure they're alive, okay? If you live in the states that connect from, not connect, but you know what I mean, the escapee is likely using buses like Peter Pan or Greyhound. So that said, if you live in those cities, Philadelphia, Virginia, it's not a city, but cities in Virginia, cities in the Carolinas, cities in Maryland, cities in DC, areas like that. Okay, where Greyhound goes, be on the lookout. Motels, hotels, not so much. He's not going to go. Motels, be on the lookout. We have been faxing a ton of bolos out with Dog the Bounty Hunter. We're literally working 20 hours a day on this thing. Just because I'm not live on it doesn't mean we're not doing anything. Our work on this manhunt is more so to get leads, not for YouTube or X, but for authorities. That's why, like, I have a bare minimum of any updates. This guy is not somebody to play with. I am not trying to prolong the manhunt. So let's tell you, everything that we've learned, 20th. So since then now, every bit of information that we've collected that hasn't been shared, because I've been telling you guys that we don't know anything, that's all being used to try to find Zimmerman. That's the goal. The goal is to find him before he hurts somebody. And if when the authorities are ready to start releasing, because it's not our place to release certain information, but when they start releasing information, that's when the gates are going to open up, and we are ready to hit the ground. And we are planning to go out to Mississippi. We being the whole crew. It's going to be Hong and I, Dog, uh, baby Lisa, likely Leland. I mean, the whole crew. We are going to kind of do a social media revamp and try to find what the hell is going on. And that's the plan. But we keep pushing it back because we want him to just get caught. It is not about going and streaming and this guy's not about that. Somebody out there is doing a live stream and he walks by, he'll pop him in the head. So, and that'll be how he goes viral and he'll love that. So that's a problem. But we are going to go to Mississippi if he's not captured soon. And when I say soon, I mean the clock is ticking. If he has a sighting in another state, like not Arkansas or Tennessee, now if I hear that he was seen in Florida and it's a confirmed visual sighting, we're going to Florida. We are coming. Okay, so wherever Zimmerman is seen next, we're coming. So start checking your surveillance. If you want us to come and do another Cavalcante round two, check your surveillance. If he's in your area, DM me because we're coming. We are ready to hit the ground. We have been gathering info. We have been putting as many pieces together because in a case like this, you can only go as far as what is available through law enforcement or our third party sources, which are usually the families and whatnot. So again, Zimmerman Mississippi, armed robbery in Mississippi. He has 2 rapes in Connecticut. One is a male, one is a female. He has an attempted murder in Connecticut, kidnapping in Connecticut, gun charges that he already did time for in Connecticut, and likely heading back to Connecticut. So if you see something, say something. I'll be back. If there are any updates, I'm going to go on X later and give a little update about what we just did here. But I wanted to test out the stream here and see how it looks. And I think it's doing good. So we'll be back on. I guess I'll start using YouTube for this a lot more. Not exclusively, but I'll start using it for the lives a lot more on Zimmerman, because obviously I guess the shadow ban is slowly getting lifted. Stay safe. If you guys see something, say something. Again, do not approach, do not apprehend at all. Call 911 discreetly if seen. If you work at a hotel or motel, assist the escapee as you normally would. That means give him his room, ask if he would like anything, comp him a nice hot meal, and then call the police and say the meal's on its way. Get there before it gets cold. You have to keep him stalled in the building, not near you, but don't give off any kind of hint that you're calling the police, because he will kill you. Again, if you see something, say something. Call the U.S. Marshals. You can call Dog the Bounty Hunter, or you can call 911 if you have a sighting. And thanks, guys. I'll be back.